Welcome to A Shot of Ag. I'm your host, Rob Sharkey. If you're going to be a great voice in agriculture, for agriculture, you have to grow up in farming, right? Well, today's guest is definitely going to disagree. Today we're going to be talking with Karen Braun from Naperville. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Rob.
Yeah, Naperville up by Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That is about, 30 miles west of Chicago, but in traffic it could be, hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes.
Yeah, it's nutty up there.
I just try to stay in Naperville as much as I can.
Is it ever not congested?
No. Maybe at like 2 in the morning on a Tuesday, maybe.
Every once in a while you can scroll right through.
Right, exactly.
You are the chief market analyst for Zaner Ag Hedge.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
So basically, I was the agriculture columnist for Reuters News for 10 years. And so I was putting out market commentary, data-driven analysis, a lot of charts. People knew me on Twitter, now X, just for my visuals and my coverage of USDA reports and just other really important, market data for agriculture. So just this year, I moved over to Zaner Ag Hedge to be their chief market analyst to basically launch my own newsletter. So what I'm doing now is offering all of the insights that I was doing at Reuters in my columns, but kind of doing it in a more elevated and tailored way. It's just kind of a way to push myself along even further and give my audience more of what they're looking for. And so that's kind of what I do at Zaner Ag Hedge now.
That's where I first ran across you, was the old Twitter days, right?
Yeah.
And you were putting out content that was, it was to me very unique. And you're like, okay, who is this? Who's this chick, right? What is she putting stuff out there? And then you kind of find out that you aren't a farm girl.
No.
You didn't grow up in ag at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, well,
Right.
let's take a trip back. Let's back this bus up a little bit. You actually didn't even really go to school to learn about what you're doing now, right?
No.
What did you want to do?
Well, when you're 18 years old and applying to college, really 17 years old and applying to college, who can know what they want to do?
I did.
I mean, you might have, and there were people that I knew that did have a path, but I mean, it's hard for most, I think, 17-year-olds to be like, I want to do this in my life. And so.
Are you saying I'm odd?
No, I'm not saying you're odd. I'm saying maybe you're lucky, because it is very confusing to go out in the world and, how am I going to, make a career for myself, make a path for myself? Like, what's it going to look like for me, and how do I get there? And, things are very competitive, even back when I was going to school. Very competitive. So,
Where'd you go to school?
Went to Cornell in New York. And there.
Ivy League, huh?
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
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 So are you smart, or did you bribe your way in?
I guess I'm smart enough to be there. But you know what? Cornell was 4 years of just kind of, making it, surviving. Every time you go to a test, you just, it's like you didn't even study for the test. It just had a way of humbling you, cutting you down, and just reminding you the world's hard and things are hard, and it was just competitive. Got through, though.
Probably not for the really smart kids, though. Were you the dumb kid in a smart college?
So, no, I wouldn't say that, but just like test taking, you have to be really good at test taking, and you have to be really good at that book stuff. I would say I'm very smart in maybe a different way than maybe your traditional Ivy League student in an engineering discipline would be looked at.
I would never get into Cornell because I'm not that smart.
If I applied today, they would laugh at me. Yeah.
But here you are, this big
That's
success.
Right. So, I think that while I was at Cornell, I was just able to kind of develop the foundation for what I do now, and that's really kind of that data-driven, objective analysis that I think is different, and like what you saw on Twitter years ago when you first saw me, and the work that I'm putting out, it is very objective, and I think people like that, because there's a lot of people out there that are talking their positions, that get emotional, and that because they do have a stake, like they, especially farmers, like this is their livelihood. The prices of grain are very important, and so you understand how it gets emotional. But I'm here to kind of look. I'm not trading. I'm not farming. I'm not anything. I am just trying to show you what the data is saying, and just maybe give you some of that context that maybe some of the headlines that we're seeing, just don't ever bring.
You're void of emotion.
I try to be in my data, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
whenever I'm presenting,
It's better off that way. Yeah.
it
Just
is.
in life too.
It is, because
Yeah.
you know, like, even when you do get tied up in one narrative, you can do a ton of research to just show, hey, the opposite of that could actually also happen. So you always see different scenarios, and so that's what I do. I just look at all the scenarios, because you know, when you talk about a market, you've got, you know, really smart people on both sides of the market. You've got longs and shorts. Why? I mean, there's reasons for both. So you just have to really look at everything and just not get too wrapped up in kind of the narrative and the emotions of it all.
Yeah. I've interviewed you a lot. Now, in a situation like this where the interview is not coming out for a long time, you can't really say what's going to happen. Hey,
Right.
where's the corn market going to be in a month from today? It depends on what tweet
Oh
comes
boy.
out.
I mean, you know what? Like, it's really tough to know. I mean, as we're filming now, obviously we've had a month-long void of USDA data, so we're not really sure kind of how much we've been selling on the export market, really even
Yeah.
where our crops are at. And so we're relying on, you know, sort of those, you know, cash levels, you know, regionally. We're relying on these export inspections. We're relying on really, you know, rumors, and that's risky, of course. So we don't know when we're going to open up and see more information, but
Yeah.
it's tough.
I'm sure when this comes out, everything's going to be just
Let's hope so.
fine. All right, let's simplify stuff. You wanted to be a weather girl.
So that is actually, I would say that's not accurate.
I know it's not. It was a joke. Yeah.
You know, I guess I always loved weather because, you know, I grew up in the Midwest, and my parents had a tornado siren in the backyard, and every time it would go off as a kid, I would just be really afraid of that because it sounded really scary. It was those old, like, grindy ones that just sounded so scary. And but there was something that fascinated me about that, you know, why should I not study the things that scare me? And, you know, weather, very interesting in the
Okay,
Midwest.
Bruce Wayne.
But I actually ended up doing that at grad school. My thesis was on tornadoes
Really?
in grad school. Yes, and I chased tornadoes in grad school.
Did you ever catch one?
Yes, actually.
Okay, here you are afraid of them, and now you're going out in a Volkswagen Beetle and trying to run one down.
It was like a Dodge Caravan, I want to say, in roughly 2009.
He's probably had a spoiler on the back to keep it low.
You know what? It got beat up a little bit, but no, it was actually very safe because it was a government-funded project. A lot of just the best researchers in the world out there, and we're
Yeah.
just trying to collect data. And we finally did one really good one, and yeah, it's just kind of game-changing for just meteorology in general.
Was it like Twister?
Actually, yes. So the project that I was on was the second installment. The first installment in the early 90s that my graduate advisor was part of is what the movie Twister was based on.
Oh.
So actually, very much so, yes. I was not the person dropping the pods in front of the tornado.
Yeah.
Some of my friends were. But, so I was not right in the line of fire, but I was on the outskirts trying to capture photography of what the developing storm looked like at different intervals so that you can
Oh.
overlay data later on, and we can see, like, what are the visual cues that forecasters should look for,
Yeah.
you know, storm spotters should look for.
But you didn't show up to serve your ex-husband divorce papers and find out that he was actually dating his therapist and they were having troubles, and then you rekindled the love in a red Dodge Ram.
It would have been a more interesting story to sit here and tell you, yes, but, you know, unfortunately, yeah, no.
I like that Helen Hunt, though.
Yeah.
She seems likable.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, that movie, and it came out when I was a kid, loved that movie. It didn't inspire me necessarily to do weather, because I was still too young, you know, to really think about a career path, but I mean, it was just fascinating. It just
Yeah.
kind of, you know,
Oh, it was cool.
yeah. A classic.
How did you start working for Reuters?
So I got starting at Reuters. First of all, it was on their financial side. So Thomson Reuters had a financial and risk business that, you know, they deliver data to energy clients, to ag clients, and so my internship out of graduate school was in Houston, delivering weather data to energy clients for Thomson Reuters. And so at that time, they had just acquired a group called Landworth, and Landworth did agriculture forecasting, and just through months of back and forth, this and that, the next year I find myself an ag analyst at Thomson Reuters Landworth, having really never known anything about agriculture
But
before.
you know numbers.
I know numbers and I know weather.
Okay.
So that is why they brought me in, because they saw that I could probably learn about agriculture. Now, it was an interesting time. It was early 2012. And so 2012 was
Drought
a massive
year.
drought.
Yeah.
And so coming into that, I mean, I actually didn't really understand how important that was. I didn't realize the scope of it. I didn't realize the impact that it had at the time. But it was a really interesting time to start because you hit the ground running. I mean, everyone is asking you, what's going to happen. Everyone's following the market. Prices are going crazy. So yeah, I hit the ground running right away.
Well, how did you do? I don't understand you because, all right, you don't have an ag background. You maybe don't understand the farm lifestyle,
Yeah.
but in just a short amount of time, you went on social media and you posted and you became this face, this voice of agriculture. And I'm still, I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, sometimes I actually don't really know exactly how it happened, but I think it just all goes back to, well, first of all, it took years to learn really the ag market and the way I understand it now. I mean, it really took years to understand what people are doing, supply, demand, and, importers, exporters, just all of the aspects of the market. But at the end of the day, I'm a very visual person. I'm a very data-oriented person. So I was just sharing on social media the way that I need to digest it for myself, like the tables and charts that I need to see to understand what's going on. And so I think over time, people were just like, I want that. I want to see it like that. This is helpful to me. And so I found myself, in that role. I never thought I could do it. I never thought I could energize
No,
people on social media.
It doesn't fit the mold. You got to be negative. I wear a Speedo half the time to get attention, but here you are just putting up charts.
Sometimes it does blow my mind to think about, but it is. But then it does create some pressure because I don't want to put out wrong information. We're humans and we make errors, and so now I'm just very, very, very conscious.
Don't worry, social media won't remind you of your mistakes.
I know, right? Yeah, no, very safe place. A very safe place.
Well, let's jump ahead to
Yeah.
Zaner. Tell me what you're doing there.
So like I said, I've got my own newsletter going now. It's live. And just multiple times a week, I'm putting out just commentary on what's going on in the markets. I mean, dealing with all the trade issues, especially this year, dealing with just kind of the record crop projections we've had, just all the things going on in the markets this year. I'm just every day trying to bring people, all right, what's the perspective we need to know? What's the context here? What are some clean charts I can show? Just like, here's a quick summary of the situation. How does this compare with another time? I mean, just all of those types of views that I would bring people on Twitter for years. I'm just kind of doing that now. And it's really fun because I'm not, I guess, tied to the wire, the wire format that I was at Reuters. I mean, because you had to have a certain wire-friendly style. And it's not that I'm writing, super casually now, but it does allow me to kind of do it in a more tailored way, like a more, I don't know, I guess more of my style, like develop my own style of writing and of delivering this information. And so I love it. And it's just, it's allowed me to really tap into what I do well.
Oh, you've got to be doing something right.
Yeah, I think so.
What do we got here?
So these are, we have not talked about gymnastics yet.
I'm sorry.
So I believe that gymnastics.
Should I be touching this?
You can touch it, yeah.
Okay.
Your hands might get a little bit chalky.
I didn't know.
So what I'm showing here are my gymnastics scripts. Now, these actually I just got in 2023. So these are relatively new.
Okay.
I was doing gymnastics in 2023. I've had to take a hiatus to hopefully fix my aging body that did a sport for a really long time.
It happens.
Yeah, it does.
Happens to the
So,
best of us. Yeah.
but so if you've never seen these up close, basically it's just, you put on a wristband and these are leather grips, and you see gymnasts wearing these at the Olympics, at gymnastics competitions that you watch. You just kind of put it on and like this, and there's already chalk flying everywhere, kind of strap it up, and it's got a little dowel in there, like a little dowel rod, so it goes right over the bar like that, and it helps you hang on to the bar without having to like rip up your hand. So it allows you.
You did that. You were like spinning around the bar and everything?
That's right, wearing these. Yeah.
Okay.
Wearing these.
Did you do all of them? Like the pummel, or I don't know. I don't know what they all do.
So vault, bars, beam, and floor for the women.
Yeah.
And my best event and favorite event is the balance beam.
Oh, yeah.
Which most people will not tell you that because it's a little bit scary.
Yeah, you could fall down.
You could definitely fall down. It is just under 4 inches wide, so 10 centimeters. That's just a little under 4 inches. And
I couldn't walk that. If it was 2 inches off the ground, I would fall.
So when I returned to gymnastics as an adult in 2022, just getting up on the high beam, I was shaking. I was like, oh wow, I really underappreciated just how much nerves a gymnast really has.
Yeah.
But
you would when you went on the crop tours, you would do.
Yes.
You were famous for doing handstands.
Still am, and I'm still going to bring that to my audience as long as my body allows me to do handstands.
Do them now.
Well, I don't think that would work out too well on this stage. I don't know. You don't want me
On the desk.
going off here in a stretcher. I don't know. I'm not Simone Biles, okay? I mean, very close, but. But yeah, I mean, I think, so the reason I bring these gymnastics grips today is because I started gymnastics at age 3. I did it through college. And then, like I said, I was doing gymnastics as an adult just a couple years ago. And I just think being a gymnast kind of shaped who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Because it's a very mental sport. It's a very detail-oriented sport. And it requires you to be aware of your surroundings at all times. And I feel like that's what I'm doing in the markets. Like, I'm trying to be aware of the surroundings at all time. I'm trying to be aware of the situation. I'm trying to be very objective and just, bring people a path to success. And like, that's what gymnastics is as well. I mean, you can't cheat your way through it. You either land that flip on the beam or you don't, and you fall off, but there's no in between.
You say gymnastics it's a mental sport.
Oh, yeah.
When you were working for Reuters towards the end there,
Yeah.
they actually asked you to cover the Olympics.
That's
and
right.
You talked to Simone.
I did.
Simone Biles. How do you say it?
Simone Biles?
Yes, Simone Biles.
Come on now, Rob.
This was after she had the issue with, what was it called?
The twisties.
The twisties.
Yes.
And I mean, was she, here you come up with a microphone, was she worried that you were going to, dogpile on that?
No, because I think she made it very clear while in Paris and even leading up that she has gotten over that, that she's, there to do her thing. And obviously she won a lot of medals, and that we didn't really need to continue, going on about it. Like, it's just not, we've talked about it. We've kind of exhausted that. And I think she made it very clear. So as a respectful member of the press, I'm not going to ask her questions that she's asked me to not ask. So
Was that a cool moment for you?
it was so cool. Just being able to interview what I think is one of the best sports stars that we've ever seen, male or female, any sport. I mean, just the way that she dominates that sport, and just like you said, just the mental aspect of it, showing that like, hey, sometimes when you're at the top, even those people, they're human and things do impact them. And I think that we have to remember that, she's not superhuman. She is a human. And so things do happen. And
The twisties they're real. What is that?
they are real. So the twisties have actually happened to me. The twisties are when you are doing flips or doing, whatever you're doing, but it happens a lot on twisting and flipping moves because you're not only flipping in the air, but you're twisting.
Yeah, I would have no idea.
You just kind of lose air. You lose air awareness all of a sudden, and it's just where you don't really understand where your body is. Which when you're doing the stuff that she's doing, that's very dangerous. She's flying like
doing all that
15 feet in the air, and doesn't know where she's at. That's a recipe for disaster. And she knew it, and she pulled out of the competition, and that's at the time what she should have done. I mean, when you have a mental block like that, just taking a little break is usually what fixes it. But when you're at the Olympics, you don't have time for a
Yeah,
little
she
break.
got hammered for that.
She did, and that was just really not fair. But she came back in Paris and just proved who she is, and that, you know, she can stay around, and that she's really just the greatest maybe the sport's ever seen, probably.
Okay. What Mary Lou Retton? I like her though.
I like her too, yeah.
America's little sweetheart.
She was.
It's because up until then was all these Russians that never smiled that were so
That's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Mary Lou was definitely
Yeah.
a groundbreaker in that sense.
Yeah. What's this?
So this is my corn hair clip, and this
Corn
is
hair
relatively new. So I got that this year in Wilmington, North Carolina.
No.
I was just walking around. I went to my cousin's wedding in Wilmington, and we were killing time in the shops, and I saw this little hair clip, and it's a corn clip, and I thought, well, for $9, I'm obviously going to buy that. And I can't tell you how many people have commented on this corn clip. People in ag and not in ag.
Really?
Just love this corn hair clip.
It's the little things in life, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
So if joy can be brought from this $9 corn clip, absolutely.
You know, as you're talking, I'm wondering, where you sit in life now. You had no background in ag,
Right.
Because I did, and I want to be, you know, a person in ag that is looked at as bringing something to agriculture. Here
Yeah.
you are, you become this big name in ag. I mean, are you happy with that?
I think so, yeah. I mean, because like I said before, what I'm doing in bringing people the context behind what's going on in the news now, being able to break down like data and show people, you know, really the truth about, you know, what markets are doing, you know, what, you know, volumes are trading or this and that. I mean, that is allowing me to use my strengths, I feel like not only my strength of being able to crunch numbers, but just like visually too, being able to put together something really clean that people can just in a few seconds digest kind of the summary that I'm trying to get at. And I think that this industry is really great for that. And that's my strength, is communicating with people complex ideas, showing them, reminding them of, you know, historical context, you know, whatever context is needed, and just boiling down, you know, just tons of data into just, you know, a simple little view. And I think that not everyone does that, or not everyone can do that. It's hard.
No, not everybody can do
Yeah,
that.
so
Who, as far as selling commodities, corn, soybeans, hogs, whatever, who's better marketers, men or women?
you know what? I
Don't
don't
think about
actually
it.
know.
Don't think about
okay,
it, just-
fine, women, Rob. I gotta be team women. Sorry.
Sexist right there. You're right. You're 100% right.
I might be.
I should let my wife absolutely sell all of my grain, because you talked about the emotional part.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I try not to
Yeah.
get emotional.
Yeah.
Stuff went up this week. I'm like, it might go up more. I don't know. And they
know.
did today. So see, the emotions are always right.
They can be, but you know, then where I come in is I, you know, remind people, okay, but do you remember when, you know, last year you were saying,
I hate when you guys
you
do
were
this.
saying, you know, oh, I would do anything for $11 beans, and then they come along
Stop
and you're
it.
like, oh,
Just
but
stop
$12,
talking.
$13.
Every
Someone's got to
year.
remind you.
Every year. Well, if people want to learn more about you, maybe get your
Yeah.
newsletter, where do they go?
So a couple ways. You can go to my Twitter, my X profile. The link is right there in my bio. Or you can go to zaner.com/Karen Braun. And you can sign up right there. It just takes a few seconds.
Yeah, and you're up there in Chicago in the heartbeat of the markets and all that stuff.
That's right, yeah. Sometimes at my house, so which is, you know, very comfortable.
Yeah. My wife and I got to know you a little bit at one time underneath the Board of Trade at
Yes.
Series.
Yeah, Series, yep. It's
That
still
is-
going, yeah.
That is a
yeah.
bar that will pour you a stiff
Yes,
drink.
very, very stiff. In fact, I mean, it's just pure
It's
alcohol.
pure vodka. You ask for a
no
martini,
mixers.
it's pure vodka.
That's right. You gotta be careful at Series.
I love interviewing you. On the ag side, I love interviewing you because you give insight like none other out there, seriously. And that is meant to be a sincere compliment. I also like interviewing you in situations like this where, the audience is maybe ag, but not so much ag.
Yeah.
Because your personality and how you have grown from, over the time, but yet been able to still use your strengths in helping us in agriculture. You're a true testament to farming and ag, so I want to thank you for all of that.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
Karen Braun, thank you. Everybody else, we'll catch you next time. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to explore more of our local content. You can connect with us on our social media platforms, visit our website, or download and watch the free PBS app. We can't wait to see you next time on A Shot of Ag.